Hello, I'm James Helder. Welcome to a special episode of Not For The News. Unfortunately, we're missing one amigo this week, but I'm assured Curtis Woodhouse has got enough lyrics for everyone to keep us clearly entertained. How are you, Curtis? You all right?
Yeah, very well, thanks, bud.
Good, love that. I just want to say congratulations on your first win at Marsk United. I've been following the club's progress since you joined. It's been quite exciting for me to see one of my colleagues doing something in football. So yeah, talk us a little bit about that win first of all. I know it's a big moment for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've been there 9 days now. So I came in, we had a game Saturday, Tuesday, and obviously at our level, we're part-time, so didn't have time to get any training sessions behind our belts. So just bounced from game to game, lost both games 3-2, could have been 10-10. So I'm thinking we need to change something here defensively. So we went a little bit more, I wouldn't say negative, but a little bit more defensively minded into the game against Warrington on Saturday, and we've got a 1-0 win. Yeah, we went full on Sam Allardyce, scored off a set piece. Lovely. Love 3 points in the bag.
Love that. Listen, all it says at the end of the day is a W next to the team's name. It don't matter about your star play at this point. So it's all about getting the points on the board, isn't it?
Yeah, for us, the main objection this season is to stay up. So them 3 points are big for us.
As much as I love Marsk United and I love talking about it, that's not the main reason I've got you here today. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on. Firstly, Cristiano Ronaldo. See! That big interview with Pierce, you will be ostracised from society if you ain't got your jab. Morgan. Quite a hard thing for Man United and Man United fans to take. Firstly, let's break it down. What did you make of his comments?
I thought, me personally love Ronaldo. His career is amazing. His development's been great. You can tell he's put his whole career maximum 100% in everything he does. The guy's an absolute legend. I think the way he's acted and the way he's treated Manchester United has been nothing short of shocking, to be honest. He's treating them with a real lack of respect. This is Manchester United, one of the biggest football clubs in the world, and he's just treating them like they're just some sort of side chick, just kind of doing whatever he wants with them. Yeah, it's been in poor taste. Everyone got it in the interview, didn't they? The manager got it, the chef got it. Everyone was getting a piece. I just thought it was poor. I don't know why he's done it. He don't need to do things like that. He should carry himself with a little bit more class. And for me, he's tarnished his legacy at Man United. And I don't think he could have ever done that with how he's played. He's not the same player he was, but the way he's gone on, it makes him very, very difficult to like if you're a Manchester United fan, surely.
That dirty little
Before we break down his reasoning or why we think he's done it, let's look at some of the points. Absolutely crucified Gary Neville, telling him he's not his mate. Yeah. Gary Neville uses him for fame, apparently, and he's not welcome for dinner. This sort of stuff you just don't expect to be coming out of Ronaldo's mouth, do you?
Yeah, it's like you see things like that on Twitter, don't you? So if I say anything about Manchester United on Twitter, people say to me, like, you're just chasing clout from Manchester United. So you expect that from a few idiots on Twitter, but basically Ronaldo's come out and said Gary Neville's just clout chasing.
It's funny. It's absolutely funny.
Yeah.
The thing about it is there is a serious side to it.
Can I just say quickly on the Gary Neville one?
Go on.
I think Gary Neville is absolutely right what he's saying. Cristiano Ronaldo has the Gary Neville because he's not pandering to Cristiano's demands and he don't like it. Gary Neville, if you actually look at what Gary Neville said about Ronaldo, I make him 100% correct on it all.
Isn't there something to be expected though for loyalty with ex-teammates? Are you not meant to dig out your pals? Is there an old boys club that Gary Neville clearly isn't part of? And you can tell the likes of Scholes, Roy Keane, when they speak about Ronaldo, they appreciate what he did for them at their time with him at the club, etc. Should Gary Neville be more respectful, or what's your take on it?
I think Gary Neville is probably like 100% into what's best for Manchester United. I think that's his whole thing. The way he played, he's a Man United fan. He's Man United to the core, isn't he? You know, Roy Keane's not. I know Paul Scholes used to support Oldham growing, like coming through, where Gary Neville is 100% Man United, and he will always, I feel, want things to be done what are in the best interest of Manchester United. So I respect that about Gary. He's not taking the easy option. Roy Keane's annoyed me. You know, Roy Keane hammers everyone for stepping out of line, and when it's Cristiano, won't say a word against him. I find that quite embarrassing by Roy, really, because he's defending the indefensible. I'd like to see what he says next after Ronaldo's latest outburst. But for me, Ronaldo at the minute, you can't defend him. It's impossible.
Gary Neville defo wears Manchester United white fronts.
100%.
He wears Man United white fronts. There's no discussion about it. No discussion.
Yeah, we got to admire that though, aren't you? Because he backs the club 100%. He's behind the club, and I admire that.
Now, let's look at the serious side of it. Ronaldo made accusations that the manager and some people high up on the board weren't keen on him rejoining. They made a point of, in his words, of excluding him from staff and making sure he felt he wasn't welcome. During the pre-season, when he wasn't at the pre-season, he's saying that he was obviously because of his child being ill, and he got no empathy from the club within that. Do you understand? Can you understand his point of view in the way he's feeling, or do you think it's something that should have been kept personal?
It's a tough one. He's basically said that the club didn't believe that his son was ill, didn't he? That's kind of what he's implementing there. And if his son was genuinely ill, the club didn't believe him or didn't give him the time off that he felt he needed. It's a tough one, isn't it? Who knows who's telling the truth? That's the thing. Yeah, it's a tough one that without actually knowing the facts of whether his son was ill or not.
It's interesting.
I know plenty of players that have pulled fasties, you know, using deaths in the family and stuff like that when they're over in Marbella or whatever it is. So I'm not saying Cristiano has done that, but it's happened plenty of times.
Stephen Ireland comes to mind, doesn't he? With the case of his not so passed away grandmother, which we're still alive. That comes to mind.
It happens all the time.
Yeah. The thing about Piers Morgan, he's got the biggest interview. He's obviously been pro Ronaldo for a long time. But I just want to get that article up from 15 years ago. Piers absolutely slaughtering Ronaldo, just on the hope that someone else sees it, because we're not the biggest fans of your man. For clear reasons.
I seen that this morning on Twitter. But that's just Piers, isn't it? Honestly, he's lower than a snake's belly, that boy.
He's right, you know.
I can't stand him.
Yeah, 100%. That's a different show altogether. Show altogether. Let's look at Man United and Ronaldo's situation going forward.
And it's gone.
Ronaldo clearly wanted to exit the club, clearly wanted to leave. Has this engineered his move? Has this interview with Pearce be the final straw, and we'll see him get the move he wants out of Old Trafford?
Nope.
He can't play again, surely. I mean, it's only last week he was captain as well.
After a massive spat after not coming on against Tottenham.
Yeah. It's a strange decision that by Ten Hag, because I think the whole Ronaldo thing has been difficult for him, but I think he's handled it well. I think Man United are starting to look like a half-decent team again. The whole Ronaldo situation must be very difficult to deal with as manager.
All right.
Because
he's had a spat with you, okay, at the game. You've then made him the captain for the next week, okay, of your club, in a hope that will quell anything. You're giving that respect in the leadership group. He then comes out and does this national interview, basically shitting on you as a manager. Yeah.
Yeah.
Your whole squad, your whole team, everybody. How do you react to that if you're Ten Hag?
Yeah. Ten Hag must not have known anything about this interview. Apparently, this was filmed quite a while ago, wasn't it? Like a month ago or something like that.
Okay, so I can't say for sure on the sort of time frames of everything. I just know it's when it's been released.
Yeah, so I think Ten Hag can feel very hard done by. Really, I don't think Ten Hag's done anything wrong regarding managing Cristiano Ronaldo. He's tried to manage his minutes. He doesn't see him as a Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday guy. And at his age, it's probably the correct decision. I think Ten Hag's tried to do what's best for the football club, what's best for the squad. And I just think Ronaldo's acting like a petulant little kid. If it's not all about him, he's not interested. And, you know, I just think he should carry himself a little bit better than that. But it's easy for us to say because his whole life, he's been the go-to guy, Superman. You know, he is everything. Then all of a sudden, he's not. But as we all know, in any sport, football, boxing, Father Time is undefeated. And unfortunately, Cristiano's getting on. So he can't do the intensity that he used to do it at. And he's got to accept that. But if he accepts his powers are fading, he's probably no longer Cristiano Ronaldo because he does the impossible. So I understand part of his makeup is probably why he's acting this way. You can't be as great as what he is and achieve what he is without feeling you're indestructible. So it's kind of a gift and a curse, isn't it? The way he is got into who he is, I suppose. And all of a sudden we expect him to change it overnight.
Speaking of impossible, if I said to you at the start of the season, Arsenal will be 5 points clear at the top of the Premier League at Christmas, you'd have called me insane. I just want to get that clip up of Curtis Woodhouse telling me Arsenal will not win a major trophy within my lifetime, okay?
But will Arsenal, in my lifetime, I'm 42, so let's say I've got another 35 years. Will Arsenal, in my lifetime, win the Premier League again?
Yes.
You think so?
Yes.
I don't think so.
Jesus Christ. It's starting to look more poignant and more powerful with every game that goes by.
You know what? It's like they're not even there by fluke either. Arsenal at the minute look like the best team in the league. Yeah. They do look really good. They've got such a great balance to their team and how they play. They look so well drilled. I really like what Arteta's done. You know, I was never a big Arteta fan, as a whole of social media knows. But I am also very quick when I get things wrong to say, yeah, wow, way off with that one. I think he's done an amazing job. And I think it's not so much about the players that Arteta's brought in. It's the players he's got rid of. You know, that dressing room now looks a happy dressing room. The atmosphere at Arsenal in the terraces sounds like nothing I've heard in probably over a decade. He's got that thing absolutely rocking. And now, if Arsenal go out and strengthen in the transfer window, they're serious contenders for the title. So yeah, this clip flying around of me saying they're not going to win a major trophy in my lifetime, we might have to, I might have to eat a bit of humble pie.
I can't wait to serve the pie. I really can't. I can't wait to feel the power that is Arsenal. Let's look around in the table. One team that are in a bit of a precarious position is Chelsea.
I'm in danger.
Having got rid of Thomas Tuchel, brought in Graham Potter, who I want to point out I have been literally promoting and tipping to be the greatest manager of all time. Okay, for a long time.
Let's get your clips up as well. If we're getting my clips up, we're getting yours up.
Get my clips up. Thing is about Graham Potter, he hasn't had a window yet. Okay. But if we're looking on just results, other Chelsea managers have lost their job on the run of results that he's had, okay? That is the basic fact. It's the ruthlessness of the machine at Chelsea. Has the World Cup break saved Graham Potter's job? Because we come back on December the 28th after the World Cup. He's got a January window to sign some players, to bring in players that are going to play the system that he wants. So he hasn't got to play Sterling at wing back, I guess, because Chilwell's out. How important has the World Cup window been as a saviour for Graham Potter, in your opinion?
Well, I think part of football management is adapting to kind of what you have. And Potter's, always made lots of really good in-game changes. So to say he's not had a window, for me, you're letting him get away with murder. Because that squad that he's got should be massively performing better. If he can't play preferred formation with the players he's got, then you adapt. You play a different formation. To have Sterling at wing back when You know, a few weeks ago he was playing in the 10 role. Then he was number 9 down the middle. Now he's at wing back. It looks like Potter hasn't got a clue who his best players are, what system he wants to play. And I don't know, is the job too big for him? You know, we were saying before we kind of came on air, it's okay walking into Brighton, having had the playing career Potter's had, which wasn't a highlight reel career. But more importantly than that, the personality that Potter's got. You know, he's not a big personality, you know, so he can walk into Brighton and probably fit in quite well. You walk into Chelsea, you got World Cup winners in there, European Championship winners, you got Champions League winners. If you haven't had that glittering career as a player or as a manager, which he hasn't, you have to have some big personality, like a Tuchel, like a Conte, like a Jose. And he's got neither. So can he manage the big boys? The jury has to be out. And I was in the same camp as you. You know, I'm not all of a sudden pretending I didn't think Potter was any good. I thought Potter, when Chelsea got him, was a brilliant appointment. I really did. I love watching his teams play. I love how they adapt in game. I like his style of play. You look at what he's done with Brighton, incredible. I thought he deserved the opportunity, but the question mark has to be over his head. Is this job too big for him? He's probably not got long, and that's how scary football is. He's probably not got that long. He has to have a very, very good January. Otherwise, yeah, he's probably going to get the sack.
It is. He's come in because Tuchel obviously didn't get the results with the players. There was obviously some altercation with the board, I'm guessing, that's made the push. But the squad clearly wasn't performing before he's come in. If you look at Chelsea signings, bar maybe Sterling, the rest of them you can probably say were panic buys. Koulibaly come in to replace Rudiger late notice. He's had 2 red cards in the Premier League already. So
and Rudiger was.
You're looking at the squad he's inherited. Looking at the squad he's inherited, they're not what they're meant to be at the moment, are they? Let's be brutally honest.
No, but he's still underperforming with the squad he's got, in my opinion. You know, if you haven't got 3 good centre backs, don't play 3. Go to a back 4. You know, if you haven't got a wing back, I've got news for you. Don't play wing backs. You know, switch it around a little bit and try and, because the main thing he needs is results. It's okay coming in saying, I've got this identity, I want to do X, Y, and Z. First thing you better do is start winning games. You know, and he needs to do that. So he needs to adapt very, very quickly and get some points on the board. Look at Ten Hag at Man United. You know, he first came and I think they got spun by Brentford. Was it the first game of the season? Yeah. And a few things that he wanted to do weren't quite working. So he switched it around, became more defensive and started picking up points. And now slowly but surely, he's trying to actually now put an identity into what he wants his team to play. But he was clever enough to think, well, I'll leave my ego at the door and I'll just start winning some games that'll buy me a little bit more time to then put my identity across.
My genius it's almost frightening.
I think Potter's got to do the same. Leave his ego at the door and start winning some games.
Ten Hag, like you mentioned, he made some massive calls. Took Maguire out the starting lineup, took Ronaldo out the starting lineup. They're calls. If you get wrong, you lose your job. No,
you're gone.
Made some big calls. Has Potter got the Jacobs to make those sort of calls?
Who knows? I suppose we'll find out. But has he ever actually made them calls before under the spotlight he's under now? You make calls at Brighton and get it wrong. I don't mean this in any sort of disrespectful way to Brighton. Obviously, fantastic football club. We've said on the show many a time, I love what they're doing. You get calls wrong at Brighton, no one really cares. It's Brighton, isn't it? You know? You get calls wrong at Chelsea. Who are serial winners, there's an issue. So he's under the spotlight. And when you're under the spotlight, every little mistake gets scrutinised. If he was having this run at Brighton now, no one would be mentioning his name, would they? No. But he's with the big boys now.
This is the thing. As well as Chelsea being serial winners, the fans are also serial moaners.
Again 2 points dropped. Again 2 points dropped. Again. It's Sheffield United. It's Sheffield goddamn United. Sheffield United, and we are dropping points like how sparrows drops the shit from the sky. Like that we are dropping the points. This is just not acceptable. I as a fan won't accept it.
I was in the pub last night with a lot of Chelsea fans listening to their grapes about the squad and stuff. They're not happy. They're not happy. They've been spoiled, haven't they? Let's be brutally honest. They've had success on success over a prolonged period. Okay. So now when you've got 3 defeats on the run, on the bounce, they're pulling their hair out. Honestly,
Yeah.
I genuinely believe this World Cup and this winter break has so much helped Potter. Because he can come back with a transfer window. He can come back with a squad who have had that impetus of winning, that break away from the monotony of what's not working at the bridge. I think it's really important for him.
Well, you put that on the flip side, that the players go away and they get an opportunity to discuss the manager.
Wow.
They might come back and be like, listen, we're not having this guy.
Yeah.
You know, you put a little nice rosy spin on that. I've seen things go the other way as well. When players get in groups away from the football club, like, who is this guy we've got? And people talk to agents talk to chairman. This could be a terrible break for him.
The glow up could turn into an absolute blow up if he's not there.
Right. And you know what? I'd be gutted if he lost his job, because he is an English manager who's now at a top club. When was the last time an English manager was actually at a top football club? Who was the last one?
I'm probably thinking Lampard at Chelsea, I guess.
Yeah, true. Yeah, we know what happened there, don't we?
If they can sack Lampard, that ruthless,
yeah.
Potter must be thinking, look, we've got to pull this out. We've got to get this right. It's not long.
And that's what I mean regarding his style of play and what. Forget all that nonsense. Just go and win some games, and then over time try and implement what you want to implement. But at the minute, just go and win.
Now, one team that the nation seem to be getting behind, which is really strange considering the resources that they've got. Maybe it's because they haven't really expressed their power in the transfer market yet, is Newcastle. Newcastle United are playing some great football. You've only got to look at the smile on Alan Shearer's face every time he's on the TV to show what it means to the people of the North East. Talk to me about Newcastle United at the moment. 3rd in the Prem. What do you make of them?
If you actually watch Newcastle play, they remind me so much of Arsenal, where they're so well drilled and very, what's the word I'm looking for? What you find with Arsenal? Very balanced. That's the word, balanced. The balance of the team is excellent, and they're all pulling in the same direction, like what's happening at Arsenal. And I think Newcastle fans have kind of been to hell and back under Mike Ashley. I give them a little bit of stick myself. They're always moaning. Like Newcastle have never kind of been any good ever. And for me, they were kind of demanding this and demanding that. They're getting on my nerves a little bit. But now you've actually seen what the club can be. I understand the moaning a little bit, because all them fans up there must have been like, we can be so much more. And now you see them, I'm like, all right, yeah, I get it now. Newcastle seem like an absolute juggernaut. You know, the momentum of the football club is flying. And they're 2 or 3 signings away from, again, you've got to put them in the title race for me. It's going to be a funny old season. Who knows who's going to come back injured, fatigued, emotionally scarred after the World Cup. Newcastle hardly got anyone going to the World Cup. For me, Newcastle are a couple of signings away from being a real threat to winning the Premier League.
Potentially a Muhammad Ali for women's boxing.
Much as I got stick for Potter recently, I've been championing Eddie Howe. Nighty ain't here to give me any stick, so I'm quite pleased about that. You boys told me he would be the transitional manager. He would be the Mark Hughes equivalent, okay, for City. I hope you're eating your words now, starting to respect Eddie a little bit.
Yeah, you know what? I was giving Eddie Howe a bit of stick as well myself when he was at Bournemouth. I think I was having a go at his recruitment. He was just basically buying Liverpool reserve players, spunking money on garbage. And I kind of felt, I was like, get Eddie Howe out. His time's up. You know, I kind of thought that he needed a break. I honestly didn't see what he'd done at Newcastle. I didn't see that coming. I really didn't. But I think the break has re-energized him. And yeah, I mean, what a job he's doing there. And again, they look great. The whole, you know, when teams are successful, you kind of get that feeling like everyone is in it together. And I get that feeling up in the Northeast. I'm managing now myself on Teesside, so I'm not far from that area. So I might be ringing Eddie, trying to get a few players off him.
Nope.
He might not let me have him after the bit stick I gave him on Twitter. But yeah, I enjoy Newcastle being in the pack because it just it brings a new face to the party, doesn't it?
Yeah, I agree. I think Newcastle have been great. And what he's done really well is he's got the best out of the existing players. If you look at Sean Longstaff at the moment, he doesn't get a lot of praise. He is fantastic. There's a reason Man United wanted to sign him. He's a great player. If you look at Almiron has got to be the most transformed player in the Premier League history. Look at him. His goal to game ratio and the quality and calibre of goals he's scoring, unbelievable. Unbelievable.
He's gone from getting trolled by Jack Grealish to turning into like prime Messi, hasn't he?
Brilliant.
I tell you who's been the best signing there. Dan Burn.
Yes.
Wow. I thought he had a squeaker going to getting in the World Cup squad, you know. I thought obviously with the lack of options we had at left back, he can play in a back three as well on the left-hand side, that back three. I'd have maybe taken him in the World Cup squad, but he's been a great signing. And he's from up there as well, isn't he?
Yeah, I actually named him in my World Cup squad for pitch. He was in there. I put him in. I thought he was good.
I think I'd have had him in as well.
I'd have him over Dyer. Eric Dyer all day long.
Yeah, I agree. It gives us some nice balance as well if you want to play a back three. I'd have had him in as well. He's been a great signing.
Yeah, I think he's been brilliant. One thing I want to talk about a little bit is the LBGT armbands that the captains are going to be wearing at the World Cup. Still been a lot of discussion amongst the nation captains. I'm guessing they're not all for it, from what I'm seeing. So the latest one to having backlash is Hugo Lloris. Hugo Lloris's statement. I have my personal opinion. When we welcome strangers in France, we often want them to comply with our rules and requirements. I will do the same in Qatar. I have to show my respect for that. So I'm guessing they're not loving it, are they? They're not loving it.
Well, I think with everything, James, no matter what it is, I don't think we should ram anything down anybody's throat.
Yes.
You know, I think everybody should have their own opinion and be able to, and we have to respect that. You know, we are going to a country where it is illegal. So it's a real difficult one. Obviously, we're all behind. Everyone should have equal rights. I don't think there's anybody that thinks anything different to that. But on the flip side of that, again, not everybody feels the same. So we shouldn't ram it down other people's throats, in my opinion, if they are against it. We have to respect their wishes. And that's what makes, you know, our country so great, I suppose, because we are tolerant. We do respect other people's opinions. And I think we need to remember that when we're bowling over to Qatar, saying we want this, we want that. Imagine if they came over here and said the same. Well, we don't agree with this. We want to change this, this, and this. There'd be uproar.
Yeah. How do you think the conversation went with the Qatar officials when they said, "Look, lads, we want every captain of every nation here to have the LBGT armband on in solidarity to something that is illegal in your country"? How do you think that conversation went?
What's the significance? What does it mean? We're in this world now, aren't we, where we have to make these statements of wearing things and saying things, and we've got an armband on, we're taking the knee. What's the significance of it?
No, I agree.
What does it actually mean?
I'm guessing.
I'm in support of LBGQ and all of that. I'm in support of racism. I don't need to wear anything to show that I'm in support of it and I believe in it. I don't need any of that.
LBGT, I think LBGQ is a magazine, but we won't go into that too much. On that note, Curtis Woodhouse, I've got to say it's been fantastic to chew the fat with you. I'm looking forward to the World Cup special. As you know, we're going to be getting involved in all things World Cup related. If you're watching this on the YouTube, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you check out all the other shows on the channel, content giveaways. Check out the app. If you're watching this on Spot or listening to this rather on Spotify, Love you. Love your adult content. Really, really great to have your ears. Thank you very much. We will catch you next week. And Curtis, anything you want to say before we disappear?
No, today's the first time I woke up with a little bit of World Cup fever. So, yeah, it's coming. I'm feeling it.
5 days to go. Is it coming home or are we going home?
We're going home in the quarters. Well, maybe not in the quarters. The first time we play another team that's got a heartbeat, we're going home.
Mate, I don't want to hear that. Don't want to hear that negativity. Okay, let's get behind the boys. Let's make it a good one. Do you know what I mean?
I'm behind them.
Monday, 1 o'clock. Monday, 1 o'clock, wherever you are, make sure you are in front of the screen, okay?
I know where I'll be at 1 o'clock on Monday.
You know them ones. Okay, I will catch you real soon. Thank you very much, mate. See you soon.
Nice one, bud. See you soon.